Hello everyone, and we are back with night number 2 of our Return to Honor week of specials. Some more cracking matches coming up for you here this evening with, I can't remember what they are now, what are they? We've got DIY in action. We've got Gresham versus Lethal versus Joe in the main event, but first... That's it. First, we are starting off with a classic match from Ring of Honor history. Bryan, this has happened, yeah. Bryan Danielson versus KENTA. And this is going to be a stunning match, isn't it, really? So, I've actually got tonight's card actually in front of me now, so I'm not going to butcher it this time. So we're starting things off here with a match suggested by Jay, KENTA versus Bryan Danielson. This is a J episode, this one, by the looks of it. The middle match will be Kevin Owens and El Generico going up against Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Again, suggested by Jay. And our main event, a triple threat match as Jonathan Gresham, Jay Lethal, and Samoa Joe collide. Also suggested by Jay. And that's an interesting match, that one, because that seems like part of the feud they're currently going with in Ring of Honor for the championship. I'm not quite sure how that's panning out at the moment, whether Lethal is going to challenge Gresham or whether Lethal is going to feud with Joe. I'm not 100% sure as of yet, but we'll see how that pans out in the future. I just look at actually, I think Danielson... No, he's not. Okay. Danielson's on nearly every single show of this entire week. That just shows how amazing he is. I mean, I don't want to say because I don't want to get over the top and be one of those people, but I do believe that he is one of the best. Well, he's one of the best in the world. There's no denying that at all. But could he be regarded as one of the best ever? I mean, when it comes to like in-ring ability and skill and stuff like that, he's an incredible talent. He does incredible things. So I don't know. I would say that I think he's one of the best ever, but I don't want to just fall into the trap. I think that AEW or Ring of Honor Danielson is better than WWE Danielson. I'll say that, and people might think that I'm just being an AEW mark again, but I think the way that WWE packaged and... I don't want to say held back, but I think that's probably the truth. They held Danielson back with his moveset and his style and that sort of stuff. Now we're seeing the true Danielson. Now we're seeing him wrestle the way that he wants to wrestle, and I really enjoy it. It's more vicious, it's more aggressive, it's more technical, and I think it's a lot more enjoyable for me anyway. As Danielson now locking in that knee bar on Hideo Itami. On KENTA. KENTA with that knee in the gut now strikes back and forth. So this is a big week then actually for Bryan Danielson, because with a big set of results here for him, he could end up very high up in the rankings with an opportunity to maybe go on and fight for the championship at some point. Of course, we know that's not going to be this week after last night's show. But there are lots of opportunities in the future. And bearing in mind, we are going to be bringing in the Pure Championship at some point, as well as Danielson with that running knee strike. Could be enough. Oh my god, it is! Wow, Danielson just squashes. He's squashed old KENTA here, hasn't he? Right, let's do the rankings then. So, Danielson. He now moves up to +7 in the rankings. And KENTA is going to move down to 0. I say I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised that Danielson won, don't get me wrong. I'm just surprised the match was that quick, to be honest with you. It's a great victory for Bryan Danielson. It continues to build his momentum moving forward. And like I said, he's got a lot of matches this week. We're going to see a lot of this guy. And the bell goes, we are underway. We have got the team of Kevin Owens and El Generico going up against DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. We don't have Owens and Generico on the tag team rankings. We do have Owens and Zayn, but of course, the rule we have in this, for anyone new around there, is that we will treat somebody in the rankings as the same person if the wrestling company is open and honest and acknowledges it's the same person. So, for example, in terms of the Three Faces of Foley, it's widely accepted that all three of those faces are the same person. However, when you come to the likes of The Godfather, Kama Mustafa and Papa Shango, it's not generally spoken about by the commentary team that they are the same person, although we know they are. So that's what we're doing here. So Owens and Generico are going to be a separate tag team to Owens and Zayn. I know that sounds mad. But you know what? It's my channel. I'm doing what the fuck I want. Right, I'm updating the rankings now. I'll put the new tag team on. As Ciampa inside the ring with El Generico. You've got Gargano on the outside with Owens. Generico now with Ciampa up against the corner. Gonna slam Ciampa's face head first into the turnbuckle pad. Before now heading up and raining down those strikes into the face of the cornered Ciampa. Very slowly though. As Owens now, a nice backbreaker. And Owens and Generico dominating this match at this point in time. Gargano fakes back with the strikes in the face of Owens. Super kick into the lower regions well before springing off into the lion salt. Beautiful maneuver. And of course we already know from yesterday's show who the #1 contenders for the SWE Tag Team Championships currently are. And both these teams would love to get some points and elevate themselves up the rankings. I mean, at the moment, DIY currently sit on -1 after 5 matches. So they've got a long way to go before they hit the top of the rankings, which is currently +7. Of course, we have made it easier this year with a change in the rules allowing teams to get more points. As there's the stunner by Owens on Gargano. And this could be another very quick match, but no, Ciampa. Oh, Ciampa didn't get across in time. Generico caught him with a drop kick, but Gargano was up anyway. That was an insane strike, that was. Nice spinning heel kick to the gut there by Ciampa on Generico. Generico fights back with a boot in the face of Ciampa. Generico now with the strikes, though. Brings Ciampa back up to a standing base. Oh, that's Tucker. Generico in with a lovely Hurricanrana, sending Ciampa up against the ropes. I don't think he's going to go for a 619, is he? Gargano in with a nice Reliant Soul onto the spine of Owens before locking in that Gargano escape, but Generico was there straight away to break it up. Generico slamming the face of Ciampa into that top turnbuckle. What is he thinking? That brainbuster potentially? As a lovely neckbreaker there by Gargano, middle of the ropes. Oh, there it is. Generico dropping Ciampa head first on the top rope with a brainbuster, but again Gargano was there able to break it up straight away. Gargano now with Generico up on the shoulders. I really thought he was going for a lawn dart there, but instead just snake eyes him. Dropping the knee on the inside of the leg. Before now once again going in for that Gargano escape, but Generico managed to squeeze his foot underneath that bottom rope and get the rope break, shall I say. Ciampa now on the outside with a boot in the spine of Owens. Ciampa now around the back, looking in with that backdrop. And this could be another opportunity as Generico drops Gargano this time with that brainbuster in the corner. Ciampa hasn't noticed. He's too busy locking the cloverleaf on the outside, and that allows Owens and... cover your screen. Owens and Generico to get the win. Wow, that is not a good start for DIY. They were already on -1. Now they're going to move down to -2 in the rankings, whereas Owens and Generico are going to move themselves up to a +1 in the tag team rankings. Boom, there we go. Another quick match here tonight as well. I'm surprised how quickly these matches are going. One other thing as well is that Owens and Zayn definitely needed this. Sorry, Owens and Generico, sorry, I keep saying Zayn. Owens was on -1 before this match began. Sorry, he was on -2. Now he's on -1 after that match. So that is a big move for him. El Generico was on -1 after losing yesterday. So he now moves up to 0. And, of course, Tommaso Ciampa, who was on +1, now moves down to 0. And Johnny Gargano was on 0. He's going to move down to -1 in the rankings. Right, let's move on to our main event. And here we go, the main event of the evening, Triple Threat Rules. First pinfall or submission will get the victory. And of course, as we are doing now, 3 points are up for grabs in this one. 1 for the victory and 2 for defeating 2 opponents to give you a big boost to winning one of these very important matches. At the moment, Joe is the highest rated. When I say rated, I mean in our ranking system. He currently sits right up at the top. Well, not at the actual top, but he is up in 9th position. Currently on +12, which is also joint 6th with Lance Archer, Pete Dunne and The Rock. Sorry, with Lance Archer, The Rock and Butch. Whereas both Gresham and Lethal have not really had a huge amount of matches so far, so be interesting to see how we do play this one out moving forward. Talking of Gresham, we are looking at doing a Pure Championship tournament at some point. Matches in the Pure Championship... Well, matches in the Pure matches. We're going to have our first Pure match tomorrow. Just to test the rules and see how they work. It will be Bryan Danielson versus Wheeler Yuta. And essentially it's going to be submission only. So no pinfalls. And only 5 seconds outside the ring. I tried to do no time outside the ring, but it won't let you. I thought you could just like ban being outside the ring in general, but it didn't let me do that at all. So yeah, 5 seconds at the most outside the ring. And really what we're looking at is we're looking at the best sort of technical submission-based wrestlers for this Pure division. So yeah, the likes of Gresham, Danielson, potentially Ric Flair, Bret Hart, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko. Just to name a few options that we could definitely use in that. And I'm sure there's loads in Japan as well. And I must admit, I'm okay with up-to-date Japanese wrestling, but going back in the past, I'm not great with. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there you guys can help me out with on the likes of Discord and so forth. But we'll discuss that a little bit later on when we get towards that. Of course, after this, we are doing our Bloodsport tournament, where we'll be crowning our Bloodsport champions, which are going to be basically a similar style to the Pure, but slightly different. It's going to be more for the more aggressive people, more sort of like MMA-based. Matches will be won by submission or knockout only, and those matches will take place inside a cage to ensure no outside interference. So yeah, that's the plan at the moment. But enough of what's coming up. Let's focus on the here and now. As Jay Lethal, now Gresham up. And he's going to drop him with that big vertical suplex. As Joe re-enters the ring. And a nice half and a half there by Lethal on Joe. And it does seem that Lethal is definitely in control at this point in time. As Lethal with the neck breaker, Joe is back up, taunting the crowd. Had his back to Lethal, but now Lethal tried to catch him unawares, but Joe was too aware for that and catches him with that butterfly suplex, now raining down the strikes into the head of Mr. Lethal. Those lethal strikes, if you will. Joe went for the submission there, just pinching away at the shoulder, but the referee did state that Lethal was too close to the ropes. Joe forced to break it up. Nice spinning heel kick in the gut there by Samoa Joe, now bringing Lethal back up to a standing base, and Lethal fighting back with that strong right hand. The jab in the face, now springboard looking for that splash. Joe saw it coming, he was having none of it. Then Joe ducked underneath the clothesline attempt by Gresham and just big booted Lethal in the process. It was a very insane set of maneuvers, and Joe now with Gresham up, and Joe is looking dominant here. Drops Gresham face first in that top turnbuckle. I mean, Joe did look very impressive yesterday in our 8-man elimination match to crown the #1 contender. Of course, he was the last person eliminated before the winner. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe a few more good results this week. Maybe we might have to consider him for something else. Maybe we stick him as part of the Intercontinental Championship. Lethal? Lethal? Do you want to break that, mate? Because you could be losing here. Lethal does finally go break it. I mean, it's always wise to allow those maneuvers to be held in for a short period of time to allow the damage to be done to one of your opponents, but you don't want to leave it in long enough they end up submitting. So it's a big sort of balancing act, really. There's a nice headbutt right in the back of the neck there by Joe on Gresham, and now Joe with the strikes. Joe taking Lethal up, hooking the legs and just dropping him across that. That's so painful. So painful. Big strikes in the face there by Joe on Lethal. Looks for the knee drop. Lethal was more than aware it was coming, was able to roll out of the way, as now Joe gonna just drop Lethal to the outside. That was lethal. That was very, very dangerous what Joe just did to Jay Lethal. Joe now dragging Lethal across as a big chop across the neck, a slap across the face, and big chops again. But Gresham comes up, and it seems like Gresham and Lethal are at a point now where they've realised they might need to work together to keep someone like Samoa Joe down. And that's still not even working either, to be honest, as Joe just booting Gresham away. Now, with the big jabs, Gresham was able to duck under the reverse back fist, which could have been a really brutal move. Lethal now with a lovely half and half. Knee drops straight across the face. Joe with a spinning back kick as Gresham just sending Joe straight into Lethal. Oh, Lethal's just sort of fell back on his legs there. Really funny angle for his legs and that to go. It wasn't great. Gresham now sending Joe. Continues the outside as both Gresham and Lethal back in the ring now together. Seems like that short-lived alliance is finished. Oh, add Zack Sabre Jr. to that list of pure as well earlier on. Maybe Gulak as well. Could be one that gets involved. Nice back sent on there by Joe. Flattening Gresham as now Lethal sending Joe to the outside. Lethal thinks that this is his opportunity now to try and pick off Gresham after the damage has been done by Joe. And Lethal heading to the top as he thinking about going for that big Macho Man style elbow. He is, but Joe's back in the ring and Gresham moved out the way anyway. Joe now with a jawbreaker on Gresham. And Joe going to take Gresham up and drop him face first with that front suplex. Dropping the knee in the face as well. Now Joe going straight after Lethal. Lethal ducks the clothesline, springs off the middle rope in with that drop kick. And Lethal, look at the strength here by Lethal, taking Joe up on the shoulders and drops him in that big gutbuster. And Lethal once again, is he looking for that lethal combination? Goes in with a big flatliner, going to go straight for the pin anyway. For the 1, 2, is Gresham going to get there in time? Oh, I think he would have got there in time, but Joe did kick out on the 2 anyway. Snap suplex there by Joe. on Lethal. Now Gresham catching Joe, locking in the octopus stretch. One of Gresham's signature maneuvers. And Gresham has just made Samoa Joe tap. There's not many men in this world who can say they've done that, can they? Jonathan Gresham makes Samoa Joe tap out. And look how much that means to Gresham. He realizes that this is a massive jumpstart on his career here in SWE, because he is picking up 3 points in the ranking system for this victory. He was currently on +1 after 3 matches, but with that win and the 2 extra points for the opponents, he now moves up to +4 in the rankings, which is a massive jump for him. Moves him up into 66th position. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of tonight's show. I hope you have enjoyed. Of course, if you have, hit the like, subscribe, with other good stuff, and I will see you again tomorrow when we will have 3 more big matches lined up for you. Like I said earlier on, Bryan Danielson versus Wheeler Yuta in a pure wrestling match. A chance for us to sort of test out the rules that I've put together to see if they are effective and are going to work long time. We'll also have Mercedes Martinez going up against Deonna Purrazzo in a #1 contendership match for the SWE Women's Championship. A chance to face Sasha Banks at the end of this show, the end of these shows on Sunday. And then the main event of tomorrow's show will be CM Punk one-on-one against Samoa Joe in a 15-minute Iron Man match. Good night, God bless. I've said all this already, but I'm going to say it again. Auf Wiedersehen, and I'll see you all next time.